the webinar. So what we're going to run through today is how you can work as a centre tutor on Learn with Nala. You may already have been given an email by me, Katrina Whelan, which will guide you on how to get started. If you haven't got that email, I'm going to put up my email at the end and let you know about how you can contact me. Or if you're not set up as a centre, then I'll step through that as well. Okay, so once your centre is registered, so that would be a director in a centre would normally fill out what we call a memorandum of understanding. Then any tutor that's in the centre that wants to use this platform can do so for free, and all learners can access the platform for free as well. There is a small membership fee that we ask organisations to pay, but actually you can recoup that membership fee through applying for a student development fund. It comes out once a year, and you can apply for funding up to €650 to help support your learners. I'll put up the details of my colleague Margaret Murray, who works in the membership area, to let you know about that. So there's 5 things I'm going to step through today, which are, I suppose, the role of a tutor on Learn with Nala. The first one is to help learners to get started by creating an account and register for courses. Then to help learners through the course, giving them guidance. So you may have to do extra tuition as outside of what you see on the platform if you feel there's a need. To monitor learners' progress. I'll explain how you can do that. To support learners in preparing the portfolio work. So we in NALA would do all the verification, but we do ask that as tutors you've helped the learner to prepare that work. And then doing a check of that work yourselves before it's submitted to us, where we do the final verification. So what I'll run through firstly is how you can help a learner get started. So what you would get is an email with a particular link for your centre, okay? And you also have to register any learner afresh with us. Some of you may have been in centres that used our old platform right on. If that was the case, I'm afraid we have to ask learners to start again on the new platform. So learners need to fill out a form that would look something like this, where there's a particular code, which is here in the square, and that code is tied to the centre name. So once the learner has filled out that form, then the second thing they would have to do is to register for courses. So they can register for as many courses as they like. And once they've done that, then they'll be able to access the courses. So just the 2 points to note, even right-on learners, if they've used our old platform in NALA, they need to be set up afresh on this platform. And the second thing to note is if a learner had already created an account, so if they have 2 accounts, we cannot merge the work. Okay, so just to be aware of that. You may have learners who've already started on this platform, perhaps as independent learners, not attached to a centre. I would recommend in that case, if they're working towards QQI awards, to finish off the courses that they've started as an independent learner, and then to go and start new courses under the centre account. Again, you can email me whenever you want at any stage and get advice on that if you have learners who've already started. Once the learner account has been created, then we ask you to help the learner through the course, and I'll step through how that works. So the first thing is, as I say, is that you will get a link to a particular account page. Okay, so once you're signed up as a centre and all the tutor emails have come in, I will send you a tutor an email with a link that looks like this. So it'll be quite a long link. You can use, there's URL shorteners to shorten it down if you want, and I'd recommend to copy and paste it into or bookmark it into your browsers for learners. And the learner needs to fill out the following details. So they have to put in a username. That can be a nickname or something like that. The learner gets to choose their own password. So unlike our old platform, they can choose the password. We do look for a minimum number of characters of 8 and should contain a number, a lowercase letter, and an uppercase letter. The learner will need an email, so you may already have email addresses for learners in the centre. So, or you can use a Gmail account, so you may have to create that for your learners if they don't have one. Then fill in the first name for the learner, the last name, address, county, country, phone, and PPSN. Okay. The gender at the moment is just male and female. We are looking to make changes to these login pages as well, so to be able to include other options, and then the date of birth. Here where it says Learning Centre is the name of your centre. Okay, so this way your learner is now attached to your centre. Even though there is an arrow there, there isn't actually a list that you have to click on. So we've tried to make it easier than our old platform Write On. Previously, we had about 190 centres using Write On, and there was a long list of 190 centres that the learner had to trawl through to find their particular centre. So we tried to make it easier now by just having the one centre name there. Then there's terms and conditions. So there's a terms of service and privacy policy. If I click on these, it'll bring me to a page where there's a video that the learner can play that will explain all the wording that's below. And the same for the privacy policy. And once that information has been filled out, then I click on Create Account. And just make sure that everything has been filled out correctly. So the username, just to note, has to be all lowercase and contain no spaces. So I would get a warning like that if there was any issue. And then I'm automatically brought to this next page, which is a page with the list of all the courses that are available. So currently we have major awards at level 2 and level 3. So it means that a learner can use this platform to get a QQI award in general learning at level 2, or 3 possible level 3 certs in general learning, employability skills, and information and communication technologies. So learners could sign up for these courses. For example, if I click on more information here, it tells me that there's 6 courses in this course. So you could consider this to be a bundle of courses that the learner is automatically assigned into. In this case, they happen to be those typical ICT ones like computer literacy, internet skills, digital media, and so on. If I click on register now, then that's me, the learner, registered for those 6 courses. So for example, I could click on that. And then the next page that I'm brought to is basically a registration page where it gives me an ID number, and it tells me that I've been signed into the course level 3 certificate, which is going to be those 6 courses. Now, at this point, if I wanted to sign up for a couple more courses, I can simply click on my back button to go back to the page where I was. And I could scroll down and sign up for more courses. Under short courses are all the minor awards that we have. So for example, at level 3, I could sign up individually for maths or internet skills. At level 2, then I could sign up for reading, using technology, writing, and so on. And we also have courses at level 1. At the moment, these aren't available for QQI certification, but that's something that we're working on and hope to be able to launch next year. So for example, I could sign up for a level 1 course. like using technology. Again, if I want to click on my back button, and I'm really just doing this just to be able to demonstrate some of the different courses to you. Once I log in, I'll sign up for a level 2 one. And then just for demonstration purposes, I'll show you a couple of other courses that are available. So we have preparing for level 3 courses. There's 7 of those in total. And these courses are designed to help the learner move from QQI level 2 to QQI level 3. So these aren't available for QQI certification, but I really recommend these courses over the summer to be able to help learners develop their skills. So I'll register for one of those. Okay. And you've seen this page a couple of times now. It's the account registration page. Once I click on clicking here, then it brings me into where the content is. So just to show you then from the slides, we saw in the last steps that we had to create an account and register for courses. Then the second step is to help a learner through a course. So you'll be brought into the main part of where all the content is. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate this in a minute. What we're asking or showing is that when you click on a course, you click on content, which is this book symbol, and you'll be brought to what we call the lessons page. This is where we'll get to see all the content that's available in a course. Now, just to explain a few things, within our courses we have lessons. So we can see here we have lesson 1, 2 and 3. All of these would map to the QQI learning outcomes at level 2, in this case for using technology. But there's always a block at level 2 and 3 called What Do I Already Know? And just to expand on this, the What Do I Already Know is made up of a number of tasks. Each task will map to a QQI learning outcome. And the idea is that if I'm a learner with some prior knowledge, so if I've never got a QQI cert before, but maybe I've had some education or schooling, and I want to very quickly get through a course, rather than having to go through all the lessons, I could click into this block called What Do I Already Know, the very first block. I could do these tasks, and if I got everything right, then an end test would appear. That's our summative assessment. And if I got that right, then I would be able to go forward for a QQI award. It would be as simple as that. It sounds very quick, but the idea is to recognize people's prior learning or knowledge. So we call this block, What Do I Already Know, NALA's recognition of prior learning. The idea is that if people get all these tasks right, they can fast track through the lesson. They don't need to do them, and they can simply go ahead and do an end test. Okay, so the end test will only appear if the questions are answered correctly in What Do I Already Know? And the end test plus portfolio work, where it exists, leads to course completion. You may decide to use this platform for QQI certification, in which case this is the path that you have to follow. But if you don't want to use it for certification, that's okay as well. There's no onus on you to have to do it. You could simply use the lessons for blended learning, maybe to show some content on a particular area of interest. Okay, so just to explain the different possibilities to get all the way to a course for QQI certification, if I get all the tasks right in that first block, this end test will appear. I can go straight to that and get through the course. If I decided to skip that block, or I answered some of the questions incorrectly, then the learner would need to do the lessons that correspond to that learning outcome. Okay. I can decide to skip over the block as well, in which case I'd have to do all the lessons. You may decide that that's the best thing to do in your centre. If I get some of them wrong, then, as I say, I just do the corresponding lessons. So, for example, if I got task 2 wrong, a result would come up called Go to Lesson then I would need to go and do lesson number 2. The learner will be able to see this progress themselves, and I'll show you how you as tutors can see this. So for example, here there's a view of grades. We can see there's 3 tasks for this course using technology. Task 1 is pass, task 3 is pass, but task 2 says go to lesson and will always stay as go to lesson. You can only do a task once, so it stays as go to lesson. So this means that the learner would need to do lesson number 2 for the end test to appear. So they're using a combination of their prior knowledge plus brushing up their skills by doing lesson 2. Again, I'll go through all this again because I appreciate it is a lot to take in. Okay, so just to say that learners can view their own progress. So they can, when they log in, click on their name, their profile, and click on progress, and they will be able to see that view of their grades. But you as tutors will be able to see that. So let's have a look at the content that I was talking about and log in and see it. So I'm going to log in here with the account that I just created. Okay, what you can see here is then this is the home page for where all the learning happens. So there would be a name for the center. So if you were an ETB, you would have your ETB logo here, for example. There's a video that explains what the platform is about. There's links to extra resources that learners can download. And then below this is where it says My Courses, is a list of all the courses that I've signed up for. So for example, I signed up for one level 1 course, which let's see there. I signed up for a couple of level 3 courses, which I can see there. And I signed up for a preparing for level 3 course. Okay. If I want to see all the courses, then they'll all be available there. If there's any announcements that we're publishing, they'll also be available on this homepage as well. So for example, those student webinars that I was talking about are available there for learners to click into and view. So let's have a look at a course. The video will explain how to go through all of this as well. So just to say that. So if I was interested in, for example, a level 2 course, I'd click on level 2, then I would click on the course, and then I'd click on that book symbol called content where all the lessons are. Okay. So just to show everything that's available here, there's the block called What Do We Already Know? So that's the one I explained has all the tasks in it. The lessons are available there. There's no end test, so it's not available from the beginning. There is a block called additional information. If you're a non-ETB centre, there is some more information that we ask for, which I can go through with you as tutors individually after today's webinar. So just to give you an idea of what the content looks like in those tasks, I can click on a block, click on Start Here, and then this is what the pages look like within the lessons. Okay, you'll see every page has got these speaker buttons here. So when I click on these, they will read out the sentence that's beside it. Okay, so every screen will have these. It explains how to move to the next screen. So that's this next button in the top right hand corner. And then the tasks that appear are going to look like this. Okay, so you're asked to match the pictures with the words. So in this type of activity, the learner has to match the pictures here on one side with the words that appear on the other side. So this is what we call a drag and drop. So the learner would have to click on a picture and drag it across. Now you may notice as I'm doing this that there's a little plus symbol that's just appearing there. I'm just hovering over the heading where it belongs. Once I have it over the correct heading, then I can simply let go my mouse or finger if I'm using, say, a tablet, and the picture will drop down under that heading. So I'll show you that again. So if it's, say, this picture, and if I think studying is the right destination, you'll notice when I move out of the zone, there's a little like no-go symbol that appears. And once I'm in the zone where I want it to be, then again I can hover over that heading and then let go and it drops down. Okay, once everything has been put somewhere, and if I'm happy with that, then I can click on Check Answers. This button only appears when everything has been completed, and then I'll get a score. Okay, so it's telling me in this case that I got 4 out of 4. So now I can go to the next task. Okay, here's a similar type of question, but in this case, instead of pictures, it's going to use words. So again, I could have all of these words read out, both on the left and the right. So if I take, say, food mixer, again, you can see that plus symbol appearing. I think it belongs under kitchen, so I drag it to the heading of kitchen into that area and let go, and do the same then for the other items. Check Answers appears now. The other button that's here, I should say, called Clear Answers, if I click on that, it'll simply reset the question. So all of these would move back out to the left here, okay? It just basically gives me a chance to redo the question again. So I click on Check Answers, I get a score. Now I can move to the next task. This is a slightly different type of question again. So this is a quiz. So the learner is asked to decide which one of the following can you do with a microwave. So I'll choose what I think is the right answer. And as I say, all of these are based on the QQI learning outcomes for this particular minor award, in this case using technology. And then what can you do with the laptop? I can find where a cafe is on a map. Okay, and again, I get a score. So that was it. There's 3 learning outcomes for this course at level 2. There are 2 videos then that explain if you think you answered everything right, you can play that video. It's about 1.5 minutes long and it explains what to do next. Or if you think you get some of the tasks wrong, then it explains what you can do. Okay, so just to show this again in the slides, if I had got one of the tasks wrong, in this case, it would say task 2, go to lesson. Okay. And as a learner, I can look at the progress by going to my account name and then progress. As a tutor, you'll also be able to log in and see the progress. Okay. So as a learner, you need to make sure that you successfully complete the end test and portfolio work. The end test will only appear upon successful completion of tasks, which is what I've done, or completing all the lessons, or a combination of tasks and lessons. Once a task has failed, the status will always stay as go to lesson. And then once that end test does appear, there's questions that have to be done, and they can be repeated as many times as needed by clicking on retake content. Okay, I'll show what that looks like as well. As a tutor, just to show this, you will be given an account by NALA, so you don't have to create your own account, and you'll be able to click into a course, look at course admin, class progress, and grades to be able to see how a learner got on a particular course. The learner grade view looks something like this. I'm going to demonstrate all this very shortly. You'll be able to see a list of all the learners, how they got on overall, if they were successful or not, and how they got on individual tasks, and indeed questions in an end test, if they are pass or have to be redone. And you'll also be able to see the same view that the learner sees by clicking on progress and grades and seeing if it's go to lesson or not. So let me demonstrate this. So as a learner, I can click on back to content. What I'll start to see popping up as a learner is I'll get these little pop-ups. Basically, we give a badge every time a learner has acquired a skill, which leads them towards that final end test or summative assessment. So if they've passed tasks or they've worked their way through a lesson, we give them an award or badge for that skill. So I can click on my progress first of all as a learner, and I can click on grades. Okay, and if I scroll down here, I can see that everything is pass because I did pass everything. Okay, the same place that I can view this is if I click here as a learner under progress. Okay, I'm going to get the same view again. If I had started work on other courses, it would all be listed there as well. If I click on awards, I can see that I've got badges for 3 badges for different skills. Another way of seeing them is them listed out here, and there's a tick beside every badge. And what I'd expect now, because I got everything right, is if I click on content, then the end test should have appeared. Okay, and there it is. Okay, so that appeared because I got all the tasks right. Remember, if I had got some of them wrong, like say task 2, then I'd have to go and work my way through everything in lesson 2, and then the end test would appear. Okay, so to give you a view of what that looks like, I'll click on Start here, and I can show you what some of the questions look like in the end test. So again, these are going to be very similar to what you saw in the block called What Do I Already Know, because they're designed and based on the learning outcomes. So they have to be similar in theme. So the question that the learner has to read is, when you get a new mobile phone with internet access, which one of the following apps is already installed? Okay, so that's going to be the weather. And you're relaxing at home, which one thing might you use your smartphone for? And we'd say to look up information on the internet. Okay, and I get a score. Okay, now I'm going to try and get this question wrong, just to show you what a learner would do in this case. Okay, so there I got a score of 0 out of 2. And in this question, I'll get this one right. So I would use my mobile phone when I'm on the train to call home. I would use my laptop to type in my homework. I would use a rowing machine in the gym. I buy my train tickets using a touch screen. I can download music from the internet. Okay, and I got 5 out of 5. So again, we indicate to the learner that they can click on My Progress to get their results. And we have videos to tell them what to do if they get things wrong. Okay, so if I click on Back to Content and My Progress, this time under Grades, I can see that question 2 is redo. Okay, so I would need to redo this question again. If I'm a tutor, how can I see all this for my learner? So I'm going to log in with a tutor account that I already have. Okay, and as I say at this point, if you have any questions, feel free to type them in as I'm going through it. I will allow some time very shortly for questions as well, because I appreciate there is a lot here to take in. So as a tutor, remember I was saying You don't need to create an account. We do that for you. We'll automatically enroll you to all the courses that we have, and we'll give you the link where you can log in. Make sure that both you and your learners are using the latest version of Google Chrome or Microsoft Edge or Apple Safari. So that is one thing to be aware of, that you do need to be using the newer versions of browsers insofar as possible. And if you have any questions, learners can always ring us on the free phone number, which is 1-800 2020 65. Okay. And if you have a problem with your own tutor accounts, you can contact me. At any stage, if you forget your password as well, I should say that you can click on forgot your password and then type in your username. So that's that name that you're given or that you've decided upon. The learner can do this as well, and it'll send a link to the email address that's been used to create the account. Okay, so I'm going to log in with a test tutor account that I have, just to show you the tutor's view. Okay, so far everything is the exact same as what the learner sees. You'll see the logo and banner for your centre. You'll see the welcome video. You'll be able to see all the courses that you've signed up for, which may include some tutor CPD courses as well. Okay. And if there's any announcements that are specifically for tutors, they will also appear here, okay, as well as major announcements for all users of the platform. So if I want to see the learners who have been working on this course, I can either go to my courses and say scroll across to level 2 and using technology, or I can also go to this symbol here that we call the waffle, and I can type in using technology. Okay, and I can see as a tutor I've been signed up for 2 courses. The one that I'm interested in at this moment is level 2. So I can click on that. I can click on course admin. So this is a button that the learners don't have. And I can click on grades. Okay, and the learners that have been signed up for that course are all listed here. The particular learner that I am interested in, that I was looking at just now, is this learner, test learner 111. And if I scroll across here, I can see that, okay, they're unsuccessful overall. They have passed all the tasks, but I can see they are redo for question 2. Okay. We've also put in a grade here that we call end test passed, so that you can very quickly at a glance see if the learner has passed an end test or not. That's going to be really important if you have learners who are working at level 3, because they could be up to 42 questions in an end test. So you might be able to just quickly see at a glance what the learner, what their overall status is. Okay, so what I would be suggesting to this learner is that they need to go and redo question 2, and hopefully then once they've done that, and they can repeat it as many times as they've needed, then they're successful. Okay, so I'm going to log out and just log back in as my learner. I'm going to take that advice and go to using technology level 2, click on content, and then I'm going to go straight down to question 2 in the end test. Okay, what the tick means there is that the learner has visited that particular question, but we can see from the redo, it means that they actually need to redo it. So I'm going to click on it, and 2 options are going to come up. One is review content, and the other one is retake content. Now, what review content is, if you had a learner who was particularly nervous, they could try that question again and their grade won't be affected. So you could think of it as like a dummy run on a question. But I suppose at the end of the day, you really do want their grade to improve. The last time round on this question, I got 0 out of 2 right. So the only way that I'm ever going to increase that grade and to take the highest grade possible is by clicking on retake content. So if I do that and try the question again, so for which of the following situations might you need a smartphone? And I'd say to take a picture of friends. And then when might you use a website to see which films are on in the cinema? And I got 2 out of 2. Okay, so now if I go back to content and go to my progress and grades, and all of this is explained in a guide as well. First of all, you can see overall that I'm successful. You can see that for question 2, the grade is now pass. Okay, so it's taken the latest time, which is 140. And then that is all this learner has to do to get their QQI award. From here, then we in NALA would take over. We would check all the learners' work, make sure the grades are what they are, that there's not anything strange that's happened, and then we would forward the learner for work. There's 2 rounds in the year when we forward learners' work. One is in April, May, and the other one is in November, December. And the November, December deadline is coming up very soon. If I click on the home page, there's an announcement about that, where we ask learners to have all their portfolio work in and all the end tests done by the 19th of November. Okay, so what would happen after that is we would check all the work, forward it to QQI, so the learner doesn't have to do any more at this point for this particular course. And then we would get the certs from QQI at the beginning of the year and then send them out to centres for you to give to the learners in turn. So that's really it in terms of what the learner has to do on these courses at level 2. There are 2 courses that require other portfolio work. So I'll just put that up here. We do ask you to make sure that you have checked that learners have passed the end test first, and you're checking for a grade called end test passed. I will send out these slides as well, I should say, at the end of today's webinar, so that you will get them. And we do ask you to make sure that you familiarize yourself with the portfolio needs. The courses that have portfolio work is most of the courses at level 3 and 2 of the courses at level 2. That's writing and listening and speaking. There is a webinar that's happening tomorrow, so it will be recorded as well if you can't attend. So if you go to nala.ie, you'll see the details of that webinar on our events section. Please make sure that portfolio work is only submitted after the end test has been successfully completed. But the portfolio will always be made available to learners once they start the course. Okay, so just to show you that, as a learner, as a tutor, you'll be able to click on a course. So for example, if I wanted to look at digital media, for example, at level 3, again, if I click on content, and then this is the lessons page, the portfolio is available there. It'll depend on the course what's involved. There may be a couple of tasks. There'll usually be a general instructions page that'll explain in a nutshell what the tasks involve. And we do ask learners to make sure that the work is checked before it's submitted. Okay. In this particular portfolio work, it involves taking screenshots or sending a text or uploading some videos or pictures. Okay. As I say, there's a whole webinar that's on this tomorrow called Preparing Learners for QQI Certification, which I do recommend you take a look at. Okay, so just to show then finally as a tutor, other things that you'd be able to see and do. So as I say, you'll automatically as a tutor be listed into all the courses that are available. We do have a feature called Auditors that will allow you to be able to look at your learners, not just within a course, but across all the courses. So if that's something that's of interest to you, you can also email me about that and I can set that up for you. But at the moment, what you would be able to do is you'd be able to click on a particular course. So for example, if I chose, say, a level 3 course like computer literacy, so I'd have to click onto the course, click on course admin. I could either click on grades, or the other option would be class progress. And I'd be able to see all the learners in my centre that are enrolled into that course. And I'd be able to see overall if they're successful or not. Okay, I can hover over these buttons and you can see the question numbers just changing there. I could click into a particular learner and then I would see the same view that the learner sees. So for example, under grades, I'd be able to see all their grades. For example, in the end test, that's all the tasks. Sorry, in the block called What Do I Already Know, that's the tasks. And then questions from the end test. Plus, if portfolio work has been submitted, then we in NALA would check that learner's portfolio work. And if we have any feedback, whether the learner passed or not, you would be able to see that feedback when you click into the learner's view. So you'd be able to see, in this case, well done and well done. Okay, for those two portfolio tasks. If we look at that course using technology, I'll just show you what's happening for some of the learners at this level. So for example, if I click again on course admin, class progress, and I can see all the learners that are signed up for it. I can make this maybe 50 learners per page if there was more, but there's only just the one page there. And overall, I can see the learners that have been successful. And in this case, if you have a learner who maybe failed a task, so you get this little orange symbol here, but overall they can still be successful. So that grade will always stay with them from the block What Do I Already Know, but it won't affect their overall score because it's like an initial assessment. If you have learners who are unsuccessful and you're wondering why, what I could do in this case is for this learner, I can see that they have a red bar beside task 2. So I'd click into the learner, see what's happening. I'd go to grades, and I can see that this learner would need to go and do lesson 2. Okay. If I want to see if the learner has done that or not, I could click on content and I can see what lessons they have done. So in this case, they've done the block What Do I Already Know. They haven't done lesson 1, that's okay. They have done lesson 2 and completed everything, but they haven't done anything in the end test. Okay, so the end test is available to them, but they've done nothing on it. So that's what this learner would have to do to get through the course. If I also wanted to see, well, how long is a learner spending on a particular lesson? I can click into the lesson. So click on the arrow. I can see all the screens that are available in the lesson and how long a learner has spent on a particular screen. You've seen the way the content looks now, and you might have an idea of your learners, how long it might take them to do a particular question. It might take, at least half a minute to a minute or more. If a learner hasn't done anything, then they're probably going to be spending like 0 seconds on a screen. They've literally visited the screen and done nothing. But they'd want to be spending a little bit of time on the screen. So if a learner had spent a long time on it, like if they'd spent, say, 5 minutes on a screen, then you could click into that and it'll bring you to the screen where that learner had problems in the lesson. So you'd get an idea of the question that was giving problems. Okay, so I'm going to put it out there for questions because I've been talking for quite a bit now. So I'm aware that there may be some questions coming in. If you want to raise your hand, feel free to go ahead and do that. Or if you want to type in a question, just click in the questions box and type in your question as well. Okay, So I'll give people a minute or so just to think about a question that you might have. And if I see any hands up or any questions being typed in, I'll unmute you and you can ask your question. Okay, and just while we're waiting for questions to come in, I do have a few polls here that I'd like to launch. So the first poll is about what level your learners are working at, because this really influences, I suppose, the courses that we develop and put onto the platform. So, for example, are your learners working at level 1, QQI level 2, level 3, level 4 and above, or non-QQI? So while you're thinking of questions, as I say, I'll put these questions out to yourselves, give you a little bit of time to think about it. And feel free, as I say, to type non-QQI if that's the case into the questions box as well. Okay, and what I can see from the answers coming in is that it's mostly QQI level 3 and level 4. Okay. Okay, and for some people, level 1 and 2. Okay, so the highest it seems to be is level 3 and 4. Okay, thanks very much for that. I should say that we will be launching more level 3 courses early next year. And we do have some level 4 courses from our old platform that we're going to move across. At the moment, they are not available for QQI certification, but that's something that we'd hope to look at into the future as well. Okay, I think someone had mentioned non-QQI. Again, feel free to type into the questions box what that might be, because I'd be really interested to hear that. Okay, so that's the first poll that I had. Thank you very much. The next one is about the greatest barriers to learning, or setting up Learn with Nala with your learners so far. So would it be about devices? Being aware that learners do need to have new devices because they have to work with new versions of browsers, unfortunately. Is it broadband? Is it lack of time at the moment? I'm aware that everybody's very busy, that there's things with PLSS and learner details to be worked through as well. And maybe there's other priorities for learners at this time with COVID, family members to look after. Or it could be something else. Again, feel free to type your questions or thoughts into the questions or chat box. So I'll give you a minute or two to think about that. And I can say what's coming at the moment mostly seems to be broadband. There's also other priorities for learner. Okay, but broadband seems to be weighing very heavily for that. I'd be very interested if you do want to raise your hand and feel happy to talk just before we wrap up today about maybe where you are and maybe where the broadband is poor. That would be really good as well. Okay, thank you very much for that. Then we're thinking about how we might be able to do things going forward into next year now that things are hopefully getting better. So, for example, if face-to-face training was available next year, would that be something that you would be interested in? So, just to explain, typically on our old platform, Right On, we would have gone round to centres, and we would have allowed time for staff to go through the Write On platform. So if that's something that you're interested in, that would be great. Okay, so it's coming in as yes. Again, I'll put my name up at the end so that you can contact me. And another thing that we're thinking about is if we scheduled Q&A slots, if they were available, for example, for a couple of hours every day, a few times a week, maybe, would that be something that you'd be interested in? So it might be one-to-one time with me or one of my colleagues, maybe 20-minute slots, something like that. Would that be something you'd be interested in? Okay. So what seems to be coming in is yes, mostly. Some people say no. And I have one more question around this where we're going to ask you for ideas. So what's coming in at the moment is 50-50, actually, yes and no. Okay, great. Thank you very much. And then lastly, how do you think we in NALA can help you to help your learners use this platform? So would it be more webinars on specific topics, maybe the tutor view or the end test, something like that? Would it be dedicated Q&A time that we'd set up in advance using Teams? Would it be a support phone line for tutors? Would it be more resources like guides and videos? Or would it be something else? Okay, remember that the tutor guide is available to you today for download in the handout section. So I'll show you where you can get that. Okay, and what seems to be coming in is more resources like guides and videos. So again, we're very open to hearing about your ideas for that. Okay, thank you very much for that. Just on that note, I am going to just show you finally a few slides about where you can find the latest version of the tutor guide. So it's always available behind the help button. Okay. And if you do need to contact any of us at any stage, I'm going to put up the email addresses just to make you aware that there's courses available to you as well as tutors. So you can go to courses.nala.ie and click on tutor courses. There's been a few more added very recently, so you can click on those. They're free for all tutors to go through and attend. Okay, and there is my email address, cwhelan@nala.ie, if you need to contact me at any stage. If you want to get started as a centre and you're interested in using this platform, you can email mou@nala.ie. If you have general queries about the platform, it's freephone@nala.ie. If you want to become a member of NALA, then it's mmurray@nala.ie. And for CPD workshops, it's G Harris. Again, I'm going to make all these slides available, and the recording from today is going to be available on the link that you used to register. So it's just coming up to the time now to finish up. So just to show you that, if you go to the help button, there's the tutor guide that you can download. And if you go to courses.nala.ie, go to tutor courses, and you can see the latest courses that are there. You can click on register now. You don't even need a tutor account at this stage. You can create your own account to sign in. And if you want to become a centre, then click on become a centre. Okay, so I'll just have a look through at the questions there and see if there's any that's come in. I think somebody had a question or mentioned about a support line for tutors. Thank you very much for that, Anna. That's something that we can think about. If there's anybody else that wants to just raise a question or ask a point at this time, feel free to do so. Okay, I don't see any other hands raised, so I hope you all have a very nice afternoon, and feel free to email me anytime after today. I'll be sending out the recording to you anyway, so you'll have my address. Thank you very much for your time. Bye.